Welcome to the Future of Ground Transportation podcast, where we discuss the exciting innovations that lie ahead for organizational ground transportation. Each episode, we cover topics tailored to those resolving transportation-related challenges and provide tips, tools, and trends that will inspire you to stay ahead of the curve. And now, here's your host, Daniel Perez.
Welcome to the Future of Ground Transportation. Today, we have a special guest, Pete Evenson, COO and co-founder of Moovs. Pete, thank you for joining us tonight.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. So let's get started. For all the listeners, this is going to be a great episode where we're going to talk about AI, machine learning. There's definitely new players and new softwares entering into our industry, and Moovs is definitely one of those. So we would love to understand. I'm sure that the audience today will love to learn more about sort of AI, machine learning, fleet utilization, AI dispatching, and how could small, mid-sized companies could optimize their fleet with this new technology that is coming into the market. And we would love to learn more from you, Pete. So with that being said, tell us first how you guys started in this industry.
Yeah, so Amir Gorbani, who's my co-founder and CEO of Moovs, we've known each other since we were, I think, 13, 14 years old. I'm not going to date myself right now, but we go back. And we had a class together in high school, and his parents come from the transportation industry. So his parents were one of the largest operators in the Los Angeles area within the 90s, and today they operate primarily Sprinter vans, custom Sprinter vans in the Los Angeles area. And Amir and I, because my parents also were small business entrepreneurs, different industry, but a lot of the same pain points that you could resonate with, whether you're operating transportation or something completely different. And so we always talked about starting a business together. And it was just a matter of time. So I was working at Microsoft, he was at Deloitte, and we started to really think about his parents' business and what they were doing to operate it. And we thought, can we build more efficiencies for their business? Can we enable them to be more operationally efficient? And that's when we started Moovs. And from then, it's been an awesome roller coaster ever since.
That's awesome. And how was it how long you guys have been in business?
Moovs has been around for about 4.5 years.
Got it. And if I may ask, are you guys backed by private equity? Is it venture capital? Is it privately owned? Because I know that we have a lot of new players in the industry that they come in for a couple of years and then they go. So just curious for context for the rest of the industry folks.
Yeah, so we are VC backed. Back in 2020, we raised a couple rounds of funding. Really with this idea in mind, we built out some validation in terms of customer needs and ultimately what people were looking for and what their current solutions were. So have a couple rounds of funding from some reputable investors. And now, we're really about scale and just trying to build for our operators.
Got it. Awesome. Well, let's dive in. So tell us a little bit about Moovs. What is it that you guys do? What is it the biggest challenges that you guys are looking to solve?
Yeah, so Moovs is an all-in-one transportation management company built for operators of all sizes, whether it's just a couple vehicles or you've got a large fleet. And it's tied, and when I say all-in-one, it's really for operators juggling multiple systems to run their business. So what we've seen is that most operators are using 3 to 5 different tools, one for dispatch, maybe email, marketing, vehicle or driver tracking, and all of those tools cost money, and those silos hurt efficiency and decision making. So what we realized is that the fragmented operators, it kills profit margin. So we really built Moovs to be all in one to be able to address those needs. As far as some of the challenges today, I mean, we're in such a pivotal time in history. We talk about it all the time internally. Our CTO is very AI forward, as is Amir, as is myself. And so I think about this time as one of the most exciting times to build software. And because of that excitement, it also presents a lot of challenges too, because there's so much that we can do. There's so much opportunity. And how do you prioritize? How do you ensure that you're making the right decisions for the right ideal customers? And so I think that some of the challenges are really just this natural excitement about how to prioritize the many options available that we have in this pivotal time with AI and just a lot of the technology innovations.
Got it. Got it. So tell us a little bit, Pete, about the difference of you guys and between the level of priorities that you guys have and what really makes you guys unique with the other limo software companies in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got to give a lot of credit to the softwares that have been around, whether it be ground widgets, right, with Santa Cruz, whether it be Limo Anywhere. Um, I've got a lot of praise for the people that have been around, right, and build reputable companies. And when we first joined this industry, we learned a lot, right? We learned a lot about what this industry is all about, what it's had, and ultimately it gave us an unbiased point of view to say, what can we do to help this industry? Where do we fit in as Moves? Some of the things that we found out along the way is um, a lot of this industry is working in different silos. There's not a lot of integration amongst software, and we've seen some improvements happen, as you know, whether it be with GNet and what they've really tried to push. And for us, we truly want to be an open software that allows integration across all different types of tools. So I think from that standpoint, that's how you become the most efficient. Is let's not create barriers. So I would say we optimize for being the most efficient. We lean towards being super integrated on what the operator is currently using. Let's meet the operator where they currently are. Let's not create inefficiencies for the operator and make it more challenging for them.
So Pete, let's dive a little bit into
Yeah.
what you just said between integrations, right? Because I know it's critical for a lot of folks that are listeners that are wondering what are the integrations. I know that there's a lot of softwares that put a lot of restrictions on operators. So give us a couple of scenarios, whether it's the CRM, whether it's, Samsara that you guys are integrating to, whether it's QuickBooks. Like, what are some of the integrations that you guys are working on? Or what is the business model at a high level that is probably different than other limo software companies?
Yeah. So when you think about integrations, anything is possible. And that's one thing that I always tell the team when they have a customer conversation and the customer comes to us and they say, can we have an integration into X? Because as I was alluding to before, a lot of the operators, they have multiple tools today and they don't necessarily want to just leave those tools, but they need to be able to centralize everything into one. So that's where we come in and we create all in one. So whether it be Samsara, whether it be Raven with vehicle tracking, whether it be QuickBooks, HubSpot CRM, we also have our own built-in marketing tool that we call Move CRM that essentially allows a customer or an operator rather to create automated segments. And it's really intelligent. What this means is that these segments can ultimately target people that haven't booked in a while, maybe dropped off your customer booking tool, maybe it's a VIP client, and it can automatically segment them for you and create emails and SMS directly to them to try and get them to book again. So it's a marketing automation tool. It's the first of its kind. No other platform has that, right? And it's AI forward in the sense that it's using machine learning to identify who are the ideal prospects to try and reach out to. So this is just one example of our differentiators. And then as far as, we're working with a customer right now. They've got over 500 vehicles, one of the largest operators. And for them, they really need to integrate into different tools like Expedia, for example, because a lot of their bookings come from that, right? So being able to integrate really on an agile basis is where we come in. And it's not this, hey, one size fits all. It's let's tailor these modules that Moves can offer directly to your needs. And that's where the integrations come in.
Got it. And then let's talk a little bit about AI, because I'm sure as we all seen it as a society, but mainly in our industry, how is Moves sort of integrating AI into your software development and to all the features that you guys are offering to your clients?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I think talking to operators, there's a wide spectrum in terms of how they anticipate AI to make it either easier for them, or there's some nervousness and concerns about what AI might do to their business. And for us, the way that we're utilizing machine learning and AI is we're enabling those that work at the company, whether you're an operator that's an owner operator, whether you're a dispatcher, whether you're in sales, whether you're in marketing. What we've seen is that a lot of people work at these companies, they wear a lot of hats. And with machine learning, we are allowing them to be more efficient, right? So let's say, Sally is the CEO of the company and you've got John and Bill that work for them as dispatchers. We want to make sure that they are the most efficient possible. So they are making Sally happy, right? So what does that mean exactly, right? How can I make these people more efficient? It's all about identifying things that are the most important: driver availability, customer preferences, traffic patterns, right? Our machine learning tracks over 200 variables and identifies patterns, right, that allows these dispatchers to make better decisions, right? Being able to forecast your demand so that you ultimately can save cost or make more money, right? And I think that there's a lot of complexities when it comes to how do we, price, whether it's the time of day, the route complexity, vehicle availability, driver overtime, fuel costs, competitive rates, right? We've built tools that our machine learning can optimize pricing in real time for these people that are going to be pricing the end customer, right? So we're all about providing the resources and tools that allow those people, those dispatchers, those salespeople, those marketers to do what they do best. So the CEO of the company is happy, they're running more efficient, they're growing their bottom line. That's really what we're about.
Got it. Got it. And tell me, so give me examples where you guys are using sort of AI features. I know you use a couple, but one of the ones that probably comes to the top of mind, just to get like really tactical, are you guys doing anything in the billing cycle? Because I know a lot of times when we settle reservations, it takes forever to sort of manually do this whole process. So I'm just like, what comes to the top of your mind that you guys are sort of utilizing machine learning to automate a lot of the manual processes that we use within the industry, that you guys are sort of changing within your technology?
Yeah, so a lot of this is coming in rapid time, and we have a ton on our roadmap that's about to be launched. What we saw with a lot of our data is that there's a lot of redundancy, as you were just mentioning: assigning drivers, closing out trips, pricing, invoicing the right person for the particular trips. The one thing about this industry that's so unique is it isn't a one size fits all by any means, right? There's so many different nuances and complexities based on how the operator operates their business. We need to be able to utilize machine learning to tailor in real time the needs of that operator to best serve their customer base. So what does this actually look like? As I was mentioning before, the pricing automation, right? So the pricing automation using machine learning is going to pull what the customer was billed before, who's the actual billing contact, who are the drivers, and what are they getting paid, and being able to close out these trips essentially at 90%, right? And the goal is that if we can get it to 80, 90% for you, then that 10% where you're just looking at, hey, I've got 50 trips right here, let me click one button, done. That's what we built. We also have an AI driver scheduler. I had a conversation with an operator recently based in Utah, and he pulls out his notebook and he shows me how he's spending 3-4 hours a day just assigning drivers, right? And I thought about how much he would charge, right, if he were a consultant on an hourly basis. And I think about, him working 4 hours on just that specifically. And it gave us immense inspiration to be able to build this new AI scheduler to reduce that time by 90% for him, right? And so this AI scheduler will be able to factor in a lot of this machine learning, right? Drivers that have been previously scheduled, drivers unavailable, the price that you charge the customer. All of these things are going to be factored in with unique rules to then be able to display. But again, let's get you 90% there, right? So then that next 10%, it's just a validation. Let's make sure everything's correct. Boom, click, done, and I'm off to the races. So now that CEO can focus on the things that actually matter to the business, like growing the business and focusing on the bottom line.
That's well said. And any other examples when it comes to machine learning where you guys are using those models to facilitate and expedite those processes?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we're building right now, especially for larger operators, is demand forecasting. Being able to look out at months in the future based on historical data and being able to help them from, purchasing new vehicles, maybe selling vehicles, driver schedules, their office staff, all of these things that impact their bottom line, their insurance. There's so much what is happening in the present, and we need to have operators be able to think about the future 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now to figure out what does demand forecasting really look like so I don't go out of business, so I grow my business. And some of the operators that we work with now that are on the larger side, this is what they really need. And so we have some unique tools on demand forecasting that are coming out that are going to be game changers for these operators to be able to just make better decisions, to be able to, be more operationally efficient.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And when you said forecast, are you guys able or considering creating sort of a driver schedule, driver schedule is one model that I'm not sure if you guys have one to sort of facilitate the convenience of scheduling drivers based on the schedule, based on the operator schedule. That's one module. But the other one is like the following week, or being able to forecast what that payrolls will be the following week or 2 weeks after, right? Because for mid-sized companies, it's, drivers is probably 40% of their expenses. So the actual management and the technology, machine learning behind 40% of our business is huge.
Totally.
Curious to see what you guys are doing in that sort of arena.
Yeah, so it does coincide with this, right? As far as what does demand forecasting really look like from paying their drivers, right? And that 40%, right? Every dollar counts for an operator, right? No matter how big, no matter how large, no matter how many years you've been around, everything matters. And I think that is another reason why operators of all sizes should look at machine learning and AI as a huge opportunity for their business. Maybe they've been a certain size for a certain amount of time. Maybe they took a hit during COVID, which I know a lot of operators did, right? And it's been challenging to kind of get back to that same volume that they had in 2018, 2019, right? So I think with machine learning, we're going to be able to help operators demand and forecast their demand more effectively. Driver schedules, driver payroll, office staff, vehicles. But then we're also going to be able to figure out how can they get more out of their current customers. And one thing that we've seen is that operators that work with Fortune 500 companies, those companies, the people that work there, they demand a Fortune 500 experience, right? And what we need to be able to provide them is unique billing, unique booking experiences, because what we know is that the operator is going to do their part and provide a great customer experience. But we need to make it easier on the driver to be able to get there on time and effectively. We need to make it easier on the dispatcher if there's bad traffic. All of those things are going to come with our AI tools, right? And so this should be a huge opportunity for operators as they look at the next 2 to 3 years is, hey, I got a huge opportunity to really grow my business.
God. And from a user experience for the passenger and end user, what are you guys doing differently than the other companies in the industry? So for example, I know that other companies either try launching mobile apps for sort of that Uber experience. So I'm not sure sort of what are you guys are bringing to the marketplace that is different than other companies.
Yeah, so a couple things that come to mind. We have a new passenger app that's fully built white label from the ground up. So it's not powered by Moves. You don't search on the App Store and search Moves to then find the operator within the app. It's ABC Limo. You're searching ABC Limo on Apple. You're searching ABC Limo on Android, and you're downloading the app, and you have a great customer experience. And what we've seen from our data is it actually has helped operators get more retention from their current customer base, right? Customers are wanting to book faster, easier. They want an easier process to be able to do that. I think Uber, obviously, that's where they want in many ways, right? So how do we provide an equal experience for operators and their customers? That's one example. Other thing that we have is our AI importer. So it's an AI agent that automatically will take emails, CSV, Excel files, text messages that are all bookings, and being able to upload those automatically into our system. So let me give you an example. Let's say that there's a destination management company, right? For those of you who don't know, DMCs, these are folks that have, plan large events for corporations, hotels, airfare, transportation. It's always a goal for an operator to work with a DMC because it's great business. They might have 50, 100, 200 trips, airports, large groups all into one, and they have this in an Excel file. And now imagine I'm an operator, I get this Excel file. I have Sally on my dispatch team. Hey, Sally, go and enter all of these trips manually into our system. Sally is working, 72 hours to try and get that done in time, right? Our AI agent will automatically take that, being able to validate any errors automatically, validate all of the flights, and upload that into the system in less than a minute, right? And so what we took is that experience. And so this can pull from a PDF, right? So let's say you're on Limo Anywhere, you're on Santa Cruz, you send me a PDF, I hit my AI agent on Moves, boom, automatically updates into the system. Those are the types of things that we're taking dispatchers, salespeople, hours to try and get that done. We've been able to streamline that with our AI tool.
That is awesome. That is a great evolution there. So that's sort of digital agents pretty much is what they're well known for right now in the marketplace.
Exactly. AI agents. And this is something that we're super bullish on. We're building dispatch AI agents, sales dispatch agents, or sales agents, marketing agents that will be able to work together to make it easier for the people that work at the company.
So to give me an example for sales marketing. Yeah, so sales, marketing, or customer service agents. How are you guys sort of planning around these things?
Yeah, so in the last 6 months, we've seen a lot of innovation here where AI agents can work on specific tasks and talk to one another, essentially. So the sales agent receives an email quote from a customer. They need to be able to create a proposal and send it back. But before that, they need to speak to the dispatch agent to be able to validate if there's availability, if there's a driver available, right? And then the marketing agent is trying to figure out, how did this customer come in? Is this a new customer? Is this an existing customer? And being able to track that source. Now, before, all of these things were working in silos. And even before that is obviously people doing this. Now, these AI agents will now talk to each other. So the sales agent will talk to the dispatch agent, validate availability, validate the driver, validate the cost. Maybe they need to farm it out to an operator. They'll be able to chat with an operator to validate availability. The sales agent receives that information, sends the quote, gets the booking, all of this done in a matter of, couple minutes. So that's the beauty of these AI agents. That's just one example that we're building out, that we're seeing, and we've got a couple pilots going on with operators. It's been really cool. And I think one other one quickly, we have our AI phone agent that can essentially do driver wake up calls, can answer phone calls in the middle of the night for a customer, be able to quote a customer right away. They can check on where the driver is, and they talk. It's crazy, like a real human. And we've got that we just launched. We're seeing a lot of success there as well. So, you know, it's one of many examples of things that we're building out, and we're just getting started. So it's exciting.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, that's exactly. And is this, when do you guys anticipate to launch the first pilot or the first sort of module to the public? Is it something that you guys are still sort of testing out?
It's available. It's available. A lot of these things are available. Our AI phone agent is available. Our AI chat agent is available. Our AI uploader, right? So the reservation agent that can ultimately upload these reservations into the system. All of these things are available. And where I think we've seen the most success, because it's just been around for the last, I'd say, 6 months, is our AI phone agent. So if you haven't checked that out yet, reach out to us. We'd love to do a demo.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's transition a little bit to fleet utilization. What are you guys doing when it comes to fleet utilization to help operators sort of optimize their fleet, the reporting behind it, and anything else that might come to your top of mind when it comes to fleet utilization?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I think when I ask operators how their vehicles are being utilized from a time standpoint, the most of the time operators are saying, I don't know, right? They don't have a clear answer. And I think that that's somewhat worrisome. I think they have an idea. Hey, I get a lot of bookings on Saturday and Sundays for these vehicles, and I maybe get a lot of bookings during prom season for this vehicle. So what we've essentially done is we're helping operators with demand forecasting, as I mentioned before, being able to help operators identify these things quickly so they can have that answer. I worked with a company recently, and what we found out is that they had 4% utilization on their vehicles. It was wild. And 4%. 4%. And what we saw with that was, if they transitioned some of their pricing, if they modified when they were doing some of their hourly bookings, right, their hourly minimums, they could increase their utilization exponentially. So we built a tool for them specifically for that operator. So they've been able to see 25% increases in the last, couple months. And I think when we go and see what the future looks like, I think a lot of operators need to look and say, what do I care about? Do I care about the hourly booking at 4 or 5 hours, or do I care about the increase in my bottom line because I'm more efficient with my drivers, my dispatchers, my vehicle schedules, right? And that's really what we're proposing to operators. And once you have that turning point as an owner of the company, utilizing our tool to say, hey, I can get this many more bookings by doing X, Y, and Z, is where these folks see a really big difference from I'm successful, I'm good, to I'm great and I'm growing.
Yeah. And Peter, do you guys currently have a module to track fleet utilization, or is that something that you guys still developing?
We do. So we have Moovs Insights. Beauty with Moovs Insights is, and it's something that I've heard from other folks that come to our software that were maybe utilizing a previous software, is that the reporting is somewhat of a one size fits all for some of these other softwares. With Moovs Insights, you can customize anything, including that module, which is demand forecasting. And so we have that. It's launched, and we can get that added to you on Moovs Insights.
Got it. Perfect. So let's rapid fire a couple of questions here. When it comes to sustainability, what comes to your top of mind of sustainability, long-term commitments to the industry? What comes to your top of mind when it comes to sustainability?
Yeah, I think anytime that we can fill our vehicles with groups, so people aren't utilizing a one-to-one. I'm driving or I'm, just taking my car to work. That's a win, right? Reducing the number of cars on the road. There's a lot of cars that are out there. How do we get them to be utilized more efficiently, more effectively? And I think about it from that standpoint. And obviously, I'm pretty bullish when it comes to electric vehicles, especially larger vehicles. And I think that there's going to be a lot of improvements. Obviously, there's tons of challenges when you think about battery life and the amount of charge time that electric motor coach can have, right? But I think there's going to be a lot of innovation there. And I think that um, operators should be open to that, especially, again, if it's helping their bottom line, and bonus, if it is allowing them to be more sustainable, more efficient for the environment.
Totally. And when it comes to confidentiality, data, and cybersecurity, I know I asked you sort of 3 questions in there. One, I know that, as you might know, I mean, this is public information. One of the operators bought a software company, and I know that created a ton of uncertainty when that happened to the industry. So, like, what is your train of thought there? What is your vision? How do you guys make sure that it won't be a conflict of interest in the now or in the near future? What do you guys foresee there?
It's hard for me to speak for other softwares in terms of what they're doing and what improvements that they're making. I can really only speak to what we're doing here at Moovs. We're SOC 2 compliant, and I don't know of any other softwares in this space that are SOC 2 compliant. And it's one of the requirements that Fortune 500 companies, from a software perspective, have, right? If you're Google and you run, you utilize Moovs to run all of your transportation, that's essentially, they are very concerned about that because Moovs has that customer data. So they require being SOC 2 compliant. And that means that we need to encrypt data. We can't save data, right? Where is this data stored is a super important piece of that. And that's actually been, so it's something that we got within the last couple months. It's been a game changer for us, especially for larger companies when they think about what can I tell my customers about their data? Because really, it's one thing for the operator and their data. It's another thing for the customers to have that peace of mind. So being SOC 2 compliant, we have the badge on our website. We're very proud of that. And I think the other piece that comes to mind is, I think with, utilizing AI, we need to be able to showcase to operators that what are you opting in for at the end of the day, right? And we want to make that very clear to operators to say, in order to make your rides more efficient, in order to make it more efficient for your end customers, there might need to be things that we can see or have access to, right? And we're going to encrypt that data right away. But those are the types of things that we want to make really, really clear to the end customer to say, and to the operator to say, we're going to encrypt your data. We're going to make sure it's private. We're going to make sure it's not going anywhere. And here is a list of the information to make sure it's clear what's happening with your data. So I think those are the 2 pieces there that we've tried to be abundantly clear on with all of our customers.
Got it. And Pete, you also made me think about crypto and Bitcoin. Is this something that you guys consider in taking that payment options and sort of integrating into that technology?
It's so interesting. I think for us, we've been somewhat of a reactor here, instead of being more on the proactive side. I think we've been definitely more AI forward when it comes to just what we're doing with AI within the software. And from a payment standpoint, I think we'd like to see more of payments being utilized across the exchange of services, utilizing cryptocurrency or Bitcoin specifically before we implement it. It's not to say, I would love to see more of that happen just across the board, right? Being able to pay for things utilizing Bitcoin. We're not quite there yet. I'd see that happen probably in the next, 2 years for sure.
Got it. And when it comes to Well, I think we covered most of it. Let me ask you a couple of different questions. Number one, you sort of briefly touched on this about how do you foresee whether it's autonomous vehicles, electrical vehicles, flying vehicles? Is it around the corner? What are your thoughts here?
So much excitement. It's crazy. Uh, I think obviously Google with Waymo, they've made so much progress within the last couple years with their driverless vehicles. We're seeing it reach consumers. I think even with Waymo being more expensive, I read something that even though it was more expensive than, let's say, an Uber or a Lyft, people were opting in to take that. So what does that tell me? I think that if you're not getting a great experience with a driver, people will opt in to having no driver at all, right? So if operators continue to provide a great service, I think that that's pillar one. But I think that there's also a big opportunity down the road. What does this look like to provide driverless vehicles for operators, right? Because they have the acquisition engine, right? ABC Limo is already acquiring all of these customers. How do we provide them with driverless vehicles? I think the companies that offer driverless vehicles, they are soon going to be working with Escalade and Ford and Lincoln and Gretsch down the road, perhaps, right? To be able to provide that same technology for these same vehicle manufacturers. I think that innovation is coming. The best part about it, they're going to need a transportation management program. They're going to need that software. They're going to need to be able to manage it all in one place. We're really bullish on that. So, as far as flying vehicles, I'm not as close to it. I think that there's still a lot of limitations as far as airspace and what you can do from a legality standpoint. But I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some of that innovation happen within the next 2 to 3 years for sure.
Yeah, that's very well said. Thank you for sharing those thoughts. And as far as what is the best business advice you ever gotten?
Best business advice, man. I'd say I had someone tell me within the last 5 years, stop trying to be everything to everyone. Be indispensable to those who matter most. And this was right around the time that we started Moves. And it really transitioned how we built Moves and working with transportation operators is that it's very challenging to be everything for everyone. But there is a specific need for a lot of operators. And let's make sure that we're indispensable for those operators. And with that comes growth. And that's what we've seen. We've grown significantly in the last 6 months, but it's all coming back from that same advice that I got.
That is very well said. Great nugget there. Awesome, man. Last question is, what are your top business books? Your top 1 or 2?
Yeah. We've got my CTO, who's a big book guy. He's always pushing us to learn. And he also said that, he's very AI forward. And he said the people that are really going to be differentiators are going to be the people that continue to learn and read. And so he's always pushing us, and I got to give him a lot of credit. That's Chris on our Move CTO. Principles by Ray Dalio is a great book that I absolutely love. And Range by David Epstein. It's this theory that being good at a lot of things will allow you to be great down the road. And there's this theory of the Tiger Woods theory, where if you push yourself to just be good at one thing, it actually does a disservice to you. Whereas if you look at Roger Federer, the great tennis player, he was playing soccer, basketball, all different types of sports before he took tennis on. And there's been a lot of studies. And so it's something that I've kind of just tried to be good at and have range. And that allowed me to think about that from a principle standpoint into my day-to-day, work and how I am as a person as well.
I love that. I love that recommendation, because a lot of times what comes to my mind as a CEO, I'm not an expert in every department, but I am dangerous enough to find out what I need to find out.
Well said.
Right?
Exactly. Spot on.
Awesome, Pete. Well, first of all, It was a pleasure having you in our podcast. It is a pleasure to see you guys continue to grow and innovate within our industry. How can folks contact you and stay in touch with you and just with the Moovs ecosystem overall?
Yeah. So my email is pete@movesapp.com. Feel free to send me an email, get in touch with me. I love jumping on operator calls and just getting to know folks in this industry purely just from a networking standpoint. And if there's anything I can offer in terms of just advice and help, and also receive advice and help, I'm all about it. Our website is movesapp.com. Sign up. You can create an account for free. It's super easy to do. And yeah, would love to get in touch with anybody in the industry.
Perfect. Well, with that being said, Pete, thank you so much for joining us tonight, for being generous with your time. And please stay tuned for the next episode. And for any upcoming transportation projects in the Northeast, please keep us in mind. With that being said, have a great rest of the day. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed the episode and got some valuable insights. If you're curious to learn more, head over to the resource website at dpvtransportation.com, where we got a ton of useful resources and tools for you to stay ahead of the game. And before we wrap it up, I want to invite you to book a free guest emission consultation or a consultation about your ground transportation program with us. Just register on our website. Is a fantastic way to see how your fleet is doing or how your overall program could be improved. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on the future of ground transportation. Have a great day.